Am I the idiot for not letting my niece help in my bakery anymore? Throw away from privacy. I, 35 female, own a small bakery. I'm very happy with it and proud of my work. I have 2 employees who work part-time, and for the most part, it's just me. My sil approached me at the beginning of the summer and asked if I would let my niece, F11, help out in the bakery over the school break. She has been getting really into baking, loves watching content creators bake, and was apparently just dying to be able to job shadow or help out in a bakery. I was hesitant but said yes. And I hated it. Every single minute that her niece spent in my bakery this summer was the only time I've ever had any regrets about opening my business. Whatever the opposite of helpful was, that was what my niece was. My employees didn't enjoy her being there, and I didn't enjoy her being there at all. We were 3 very grumpy people all summer. I had hopes that she would get better, but she didn't. She started back to school this week, and I have never felt so relieved. I thought many times about telling my sister that she couldn't come back during the summer, but since I had made the promise, I kept up with it. My sister stopped by the house yesterday to drop something off for my husband. She told me my niece had absolutely loved her experience this summer and wanted to know if she could come back a couple Saturdays a month. I told her that unfortunately, that wasn't going to work, and that going forwards, I didn't think it was a good idea for my niece to help out. I told her it just wasn't productive for us. My sister was very unhappy. She told me that my niece had loved her summer at the bakery and was so looking forwards to continuing. I told her that I was sorry, but I had a business to run and couldn't continue having her help out. This dissolved into a shouting match that my husband eventually broke up. My sil and mother-in-law have been sending me nasty messages about breaking a girl's heart. My husband said my niece called him and was very upset, but he stands by me and understands that I can't let this bring down my workplace. So am I being an asshole? Story 2. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter she showed us who she really was on her wedding day? I'm the father of 4 children. In May, my son Neil got married to Debbie. Debbie acted terribly the whole day. Straight up entitled and embarrassing. My oldest daughter was 3 months pregnant and hadn't told anyone because she had already had 1 miscarriage. She was barely showing, and Debbie picked a tight-fitting bridesmaid dress. My daughter was super sick from morning sickness, and Debbie told her she looked disgusting and to stop taking attention off of her. My son, who was best man to the groom, his brother, had his wife seated with some cousins across the room at the reception and not at the family table because she wasn't immediate family. We did not know this until the reception, and we tried to have her moved back to our table, but Debbie said no, it's her day. It caused a fight, and the best man just left before the reception because his wife was snubbed. A few days after the wedding, my daughter miscarried again while Debbie and Neil were on their honeymoon. Debbie felt like that was attention-seeking. My wife, children, and spouses normally rent a house by the beach for Labor Day, but because of continued bad blood between Debbie and the rest of the family, they aren't invited. All 3 of my other children basically said if Debbie comes, they aren't going. So Debbie and Neil got the axe. When Neil asked about it, I told him, Debbie showed us who she really was on her wedding day, and don't expect many invites from the rest of the family to do things. Neil was pissed and said it's not fair that she feels left out because she saw on social media where all the girls, including the snubbed sil, her mother, and my wife, went to the Barbie movie dressed in pink, and she felt left out. Now he has to tell her she can't go on the annual beach vacation, and she's feeling hurt. I told him that not one person in the family wants Debbie there, and I'm sorry that she can't come. My son had me on speaker, and Debbie started crying, saying she couldn't believe how horrible we are, that she wasn't going to go anyway, and don't expect to see her at Thanksgiving or Christmas ever again. I lost my temper with Debbie, and I told her the rest of the family would be relieved to hear it. Story 3. Will I be the idiot for selling my unused engagement ring without telling my so? My 35 female partner, male 34, and I have been together for over 5 years and largely have a good relationship. We have discussed marriage, and we do want to get married eventually when we get settled in a home of our own. A couple of years ago, we had a serious discussion and decided we would begin making loose plans. I was excited and began researching engagement rings online. I found a design that I really liked and asked a local jeweler to design something similar. My partner was fully aware that I was doing this at the time. I put a deposit down on a ring, partner aware, assuming my partner would help me pay off the balance. It was never brought up again, and eventually the jeweler became impatient and demanded the money for the ring, totally fair, which I paid in full on my own. The ring was delivered to our house and has been sitting in a parcel in a cupboard since March 2021. I have asked my partner a few times about it, and he says he is waiting to ask my father for permission. I thought this was sweet at the time, but now he has had countless interactions with my father in the intervening time, and not once has he asked my father about asking to marry me. I turned 35 in the last couple of weeks, and it brought on a lot of feelings of missed milestones. I know it's silly, but I can't help but feel duped. I understand if he isn't ready, and that's fine, but why let me go through with designing and paying the deposit for my dream ring if he has no intention of asking me? I am also super embarrassed because I told two of my very close girlfriends at the time that we had bought a ring, and now, over 2 years later, nothing has happened. Therefore, will I be the idiot if I took the ring parcel from the cupboard and sold it online without telling my boyfriend? I wouldn't even want to wear it now, even if he did ask, because I associate the ring with embarrassment.